And we're live here on the Pete the Planner show. It's hoodie sweatshirt day. I know you're listening from an audio perspective, but it's hoodie sweatshirt day both here on my carcass as well as a lot of my coworkers here in HQ1 and HQ2 at Your Money Line. No one cares what I'm wearing. What are you wearing, Dame?
It's not true. Has anybody questioned your choice of fashion camel on Veterans Day?
Oh,
Ooh, stolen valor.
Oh no. Oh my gosh,
We should just
that
start
is
yelling it.
way on the nose. I'm uncomfortable.
Just
Oh
turn
boy.
it inside out, and then it looks like you're headed to go deer hunting after this.
Now I look like Big Bird. Boy, that is Dame. Wow. How are you, Kristen?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I think people will love today what we're doing on the show. People like last week. A lot of people like last week. This week is equally as provocative. Dame, Kristen, and I have all taken a money personality test. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, you can call it a money personality test. Yeah.
And Danza, don't say happy Fashion Camel Friday. This is not a stolen valor situation. I'm so upset now, Dame. I was serving up Luke's.
Dan's is my favorite.
Don't pick favorites, especially when they mock me. So then we're gonna. So Kristen has the results of our money personality tests, and so I've not seen our results. Dame is not. Dame, have you seen your results?
I only saw mine long enough because I had them sent to me instead of her, and I forwarded them on. So I haven't dug into them.
So anyway, we may find out I'm a psychopath today is what I'm telling you.
Confirm.
Kristen, are any of the personality bits that we're about to get into, are any of them negative? Are they like, this is bad, or do they all have a positive spin to them?
All of them have pros and cons. There's 4 that we'll dig into, and there's one that you want to have more of than the others, and the other 3 are considered to be more negative. But there are pros and cons to all of the money scripts.
Maybe we should save it for the air, but I felt like taking it was unfair as a financial professional to be taking the thing.
Yeah. And they don't ask the same exit questions on every survey, but they do ask if you're in the financial industry, because financial professionals are more likely to score high in 2 of the categories over the other 2, just by nature of what you do for a living.
All right. Fantastic. Dame, big plans this weekend?
Swim weekend for the Aquaduns. I will be traveling the great state of Indiana once again.
Kristen, is it happening this weekend?
We'll see this weekend. We'll try again.
Boy, oh boy. All right. Going on a date with my wife this weekend, which means I'm not sure what that means, but that's what we're doing.
Money will be spent.
Money will be spent. All right, let's start the show. Jeremiah, I am not in a hurry today. I got all the time in the world.
Wow.
Although I do have a meeting at the top of the hour, so let's get going. All right, in 3, I'm not ready. Oh boy. Eventful morning. 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com, and here's what will happen next. We'll actually ignore your question and talk about what we want to talk about on the show, which is exactly what we're doing today, thanks to my colleagues, Kristen Elanius and Damian Dunn. Hello, folks.
Hello.
Good day, Pete.
These 2 fine people are instrumental in the work that we do here at Your Money Line. Kristen is the director of education, enjoys long walks with her dogs, and Damian is the vice president of advice and enjoys warm hats in cold weather. True. He's bald. All right, Kristen, this week where you sent out a link to Dame and I saying, take your money personality tests. So today, what we're doing on this week's show is we are helping people understand what these different personality traits might be. And then we're going to have a little bit of a game where Dame and I have to guess who has these traits amongst us 3. So you hold the results of all. It's like 23andMe, but for money personalities. Dame, yes, you had a question because you're raising your hand.
I would say that this is a little bit more than just a money personality quiz. You make it sound like it's in the back half of Cosmo when you say that. This is actually a little bit more scientific than that.
Well, I find that comment to be misogynistic, first off. Second off, Kristen, I was hoping you'd jump in and save me and actually do this thing justice to Dame's point, because it is a lot more, and I just haven't thought about it. What is it?
It is a lot more. So, a doctor of psychology, a CFP, his name's Brad Klontz. He developed this money script, is what he calls them. There's 4 of them. And the idea is that these money scripts are really your core belief patterns when it comes to money. So, how do you view money? The good and bad is that these are not usually something we're actively thinking about. They usually are a factor of your upbringing when it comes to money. And the goal overall is to just be more aware of how you behave toward money, how you feel with respect to money or concerning money, so that you can predict behaviors that you might be susceptible to. And we're going to dig into that a little bit.
All right. Well, Kristen, I have to ask before we get going here. You've clearly done this. What are we calling it? I got to quit calling it a personality quiz. It's an assessment.
He calls it an inventory.
No, it's a bit much. We'll call it an assessment. You've done this assessment on yourself. You've performed it on Dame and I. I'm flying blind here. I'm about to find out that I'm, the father of a bunch of children or something. Have you performed this assessment on anyone else in your life that is not financially minded?
Yeah, I made someone practice this with me yesterday, actually.
Okay, so maybe we'll get to that later. But I see where I go. Like, I want Mrs. Planner to take this assessment, but then she doesn't really like being my guinea pig for stuff like this. So
yeah,
she's Kristen's guinea pig, not yours.
That's true.
Yeah, well, maybe I think she likes you more. Dame, so where should we start here? Should Kristen explain what's going on here?
Yeah, I think a little bit of background, which she's given us some high level, but maybe explain the groups and where we're headed with that, Kristen.
Yeah. So we each took this inventory, as he calls it, this assessment. And there's a shorter version, which we took, which was, I think, 30 some odd questions. And then there is a longer version on his website. But then it scores you with respect to the 4 money scripts, which we'll dig into what they are, but they're avoidance, worship, status, and vigilance.
Okay. So, can we dig through those now? Because now I'm stuck in my head. Well, the first one is what?
Avoidance.
Okay, so if you have the money script of avoidance, what are you avoiding?
Sure. So I have a bunch of notes. I'm so into this. I willingly read 50 pages of publication on this week because I'm that much of a nerd. So if you are money avoidant, you might have this belief that money is bad. You might think that you don't deserve money. When it comes to your emotions with respect to money, you might think that it's a fearful thing. It might cause anxiety. You might think that people who have money are bad. This can lead to financial denial. We'll get into maybe money disorders too. But you can actually be prone to self-sabotage because you want to keep that distance from money. And then when you look at persons who are surveyed, persons who don't know their net worth are most likely to be money avoidant, which I think tracks.
By the way, when I took this assessment, because I knew you were getting the results, I did not put my net worth in there.
Oh, I can't see that part. Okay. I can only see.
I threw it off.
0.
Yeah, I put $1. So
no,
because I didn't want that to impact the results. I will say this. So you're Dame. She's explaining this avoidance. I'm having a hard time thinking this isn't simply a very negative quality. Do you see a different side to it? I'm trying to be empathetic here, but that seems like a bad thing.
There are a lot of challenges that would come along with having a strong trait of money avoidance. That's to be sure. And if you wanted to try and frame things in the positive light, somebody who's going to be money avoidant may be very generous with their money because they don't want it in their lifestyle. They don't want it around them because of experiences they've had when they were young, or maybe how they saw it used in their family, or what it's done to other family members. So it's very possible that somebody that's money avoidant could be really generous with their money, which is outwardly a very great thing, but inwardly it could be, as Kristen said, sabotaging your future.
Kristen, what other positive qualities of the money avoidance should we recognize?
I kind of struggle to find other ones. Just because, and that's my bias, and that'll come up later on. But one of us was more money avoidant than the other two.
Okay, okay. So Dame and I get to guess, right?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Okay. Oh man. How in the I don't there's first off on does it rank a scale like because there's
Yeah.
no way any of us are that money avoidant.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's low, medium, and high. So if you rank low, it means that you don't exhibit the behaviors of that money behavior, that money script. If you're medium, that you have some of those qualities, and if you're high, that they place you in that category of this is your money script.
So on within the low scale, are there is there a magnitude or is it just low?
It's the numbers rank from 1 to 3 in low. Total, they rank 1 to 6.
Okay, so Dame, I think oh my, I'm so nervous right now.
Well, yeah, because you just said it's a bad trait, and now you have to say one of us has it.
All right. I think Kristen.
not that one of us has
I
it.
think Kristen has the highest level of money avoidance of the three of us.
And not that one of us has it. One of us just scores higher than the
Correct.
others.
I think she scores high on the low is where I'm going.
I'm going to go with Pete.
It's actually Dame. Dame scored the highest of the three.
What?
So
Oh my god. Okay, wait. So what did he score?
he scored a
wait,
2.5.
Dame, do we have permission to share your score on the
Oh,
air?
well, I just did.
Or too late.
All right, you have permission to share all.
Yeah,
of
I don't care.
He still scored low, but he did score the highest of the three of us, and he's very close to the exhibiting some behaviors of money avoidance. So it's just
Interesting.
something to be aware of.
Oh, this is the best thing that's ever happened to the show. What's your score?
So I scored 2.1, Damien scored 2.5, and you scored 1.5.
1.5.
You barely
I'm
registered.
slipping.
Yeah.
Barely registered.
Jeez, I'm embarrassed about my score. Dame, you must be beside yourself. All right, so we have a minute left here in the segment. Dame, do you feel? Oh, get on the couch, lay down, buddy. Do you feel you know where some semblance of your money, your very obvious and deep money avoidance comes from?
You know, I could really fluff myself here and say that it has to be all that money that I give away. But no, I'm not really confident that I can point to something that would say that I am the highest of us in money avoidance.
Oh, that's so interesting. All right. So coming up after the break, we're gonna hit what are the other three qualities real quick that we're gonna hit after the break?
Focus, status, vigilance.
Focus, status, and vigilance. Someone's about to get embarrassed, and odds are it's gonna be me. So coming back after the break, we will talk more of the money traits that we have in our lives and who has the worst and the best right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Man, I swore it was going to be Kristen. But I mean, again, we're all in the low.
Correct.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
This is a Cosmo quiz. There's no science behind it.
In middle school band, I was a percussionist, which meant I played the triangle. And I would sit behind the clarinets. And in my middle school, and again, I'm a 44-year-old man talking about this now, but I'm thinking back as a 12-year-old boy, all like the girls I wanted to hang out with were clarinetists. There were a couple that were flautists, and then one that was a pianist. And I would note that the clarinet section, the woodwinds of Guyan Creek Middle School, were always doing those Cosmo quizzes. And then they would, and I'd like, when I think of Cosmo quizzes, I think of being in middle school band and the clarinetists saying, "Hey, Triangle Man, what is your love personality?" And I believe I was like a lemur or like a Snickers bar or something. I don't remember, but I was very illuminated.
The quizzes that DeKalb Middle fancied were from 17 magazine, and we essentially fought over those when they came in. The guys would just huddle around and take the quizzes.
You know, in retrospect, Kristen, I believe mine too was 17 magazine because I don't know why a 12-year-old girl would be reading Cosmo. Because I wasn't living in Carmel at the time. Now I can see that, but I was living in Marion County, so it was, definitely 17 magazine.
Yeah.
Kristen, what was your teeny bopper magazine that you would read? I know magazines as a whole industry were dead when you were a teenager because you're very young. But was there a magazine that you read, Guns and Ammo, or what were you reading?
That was second on the list, but first was, I think it was called Tiger Beat, maybe.
Was that still around?
I have no idea.
Or who was the teen heartthrob when you
Good
were
question.
13, 14?
Probably
Bieber?
no.
Oh yeah.
People really liked the lead singer of the Backstreet Boys, Nick Carter.
Oh, really? Then?
Oh yeah, because he was
Well,
older.
I feel like Dame, the heartthrob for us males was Kirk Cameron. You had like Ricky Schroeder, or like those are like definitely like mid 80s.
I say that's 80s stuff.
Ralph Macchio.
That's not middle school. That's early. Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking like New Kids on the Block then.
Yeah, New Kids were huge in like 6th grade.
Okay.
I was laughing at Rick's comment.
Highlights was always the best when I was a kid. Of course, that's well before the teenage years. Yes.
He's not wrong. Highlights was awesome.
I would be in my dentist's office, who was my uncle, and I would just be all up in that item find in the Highlights magazine. Actually, I gotta be honest, I don't like being rude, which is surprising to some people. I think the only good quality of Highlights magazine was the item search. There's nothing else of substance in there, was there?
What else was
there?
in
Was there was the I can't remember the two brothers where the one was good and the one was one
Goofus
was
and Gallant?
wayward. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
How did that come out of my head?
I don't know, but it's amazing.
That was it, right? Goofus and
I'm
Gallant, or
98% sure that's what it was. Goofus and Gallant. Yeah.
I used to read Mad Magazine and Cracked Magazine.
Yeah.
Of course.
Garbage Pail Kid.
Pro Football Weekly, which was like, or no. Beckett's. Yeah. Okay. Back to the show.
Oh yeah.
What's the next trait we're going with?
Focus/worship.
Oh boy, I feel like I'm going to get killed here. And 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. It's the big reveal here today on the show as we talk about our primary money scripts. Kristen, for those just joining us late, which is super weird on a podcast, but makes sense on the radio. What are we doing? What's this called? Why are we doing this?
This is an inventory to identify our money behaviors, our core beliefs about money, in an attempt to maybe prevent us from making decisions we might be inclined to make due to these unconscious biases.
The first segment, we covered money avoidance, and Dame scored the highest on money avoidance, despite the fact that it was still very low on the scale. Kristen and I were lower. Now, this next trait is what?
The next trait is money focus or money worship.
So give us a read of what this looks like.
Sure. So the idea is the core belief is that money will make things better. It's actually the most common belief among Americans surveyed. Often people in this group think that money will solve their problems. And if we look at some of the questions that were asked in this assessment that would have identified you with this group, one of the questions was, things would be better if I had more money. And another question was, money buys freedom.
All right, Dame, how do you get your head around this? I can actually, as she's going through it, I hear some pros and cons, some advantages and disadvantages. How do you read it?
Yeah, I can see the exact same point of view. I mean, there is something to money being a stabilizing factor and providing a sort of freedom to somebody's lifestyle. However, that could potentially spiral really, really quick. So I feel like a balance to be struck here for sure.
All right, so Dame, you and I get to guess
Who scored the highest?
Who worships money the most. And I think what you and I learned in the last segment, Dame, it's since we know there's 3 groups, low, middle, and high, let's go ahead and guess where people are in those as well.
Can I ask a question here? Kristen, is there a chance that all of us scored higher in one category? Like did all of us win one category? Win?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
Rick
All right.
Swink on Facebook Live notes that Biggie Smalls did not fall into this category. He did not score high on the more money, less problems. He scored high on more money, more problems.
More problems. Yeah.
And before you guess, the person who won, quote, this category scored an entire point higher
Oh,
than the
Lord.
other two.
I feel
Okay.
like I have my Dame, you go first this time. You go first. Kristen, this is fun.
I mean,
I'm glad.
the polite thing to do is just to say yourself, right?
I'm not interested in polite. I'm interested
Okay.
in winning.
You know what, Pete? I'm going to say Pete again.
Okay. I'm saying Kristen again.
Stop.
Can I give a very can I give my reason why it's
Of course.
Dame and I are in different stages of our life than you are, right? And that doesn't make it good or bad, but when I was your age, my view on money was different than it is now. And I assume Dame's is too.
Yeah.
So that's why I think in this category, you're the highest. And boy, I can't wait to be wrong. All right, what? So start with the lowest and then make your way up to the highest.
Oh, yeah.
The lowest was Dame.
Oh, no.
He scored A3, which is considered medium, which is that you do exhibit some of the behavior. Pete, you scored a 3.29, which also puts you in the medium. And I scored a whopping 4.57.
Yes.
Putting me in the high category. It's actually my primary money script.
Okay. But I don't, first of all, there's no but. This is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. And I think the context of your adult life, Kristen, because I know you, I think the story's there, right? Like it totally makes sense. Dame, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As you were starting to unpack your reasoning, I was like, oh yeah, that's actually insightful. Nice job.
So if you look at when they originally did this assessment, they asked people like 100 questions about who they are, gender, race, socioeconomic status when you were growing up, like on and on and on. And the person most likely to have money focus or money worship as their primary script is a young, white, single person. So like me.
Yeah.
It's me. The thing that I think is really interesting though is that a generational thing? Because there's not enough data to measure over the long term. Is that a generational thing? Is that because a millennial or a Gen Z tends to have more of these, like this money script? And as I go through life, as real life happens, will I change my view? Or is it a generational difference? Is it because boomers, Gen X, etc.? Is it because those generations have different views about money? That's what I think is super interesting.
That is interesting. Dame, I think I can maybe reason as to why you're lower than I am. Not that materialism comes into this, but I feel like materialism has to be on this spectrum of money worship. And I am definitely more materialistic than you.
Yeah, I think we both value certain things a lot. We have different preferences in different places we would prefer to spend our money. Yeah, maybe. But I mean, you also live in a fairly metropolitan area or suburb area, and I live
right,
somewhere where it's just easier to get by to get by. So,
Kristen, did these results surprise you in this category?
I was a little surprised to be quite so high, but I thought it was difficult because I am a believer in like money isn't the thing that's going to solve all of your problems, but I do think having access to money can help you focus on other things. So I did find a little bit of difficulty in answering some of the questions because one of the questions was things would be better if I had more money. I don't think that it's the money itself. I think it's the opportunity. It opens up a much bigger can of worms.
All right, what's the next quality? We're going to try to at least get the explanation in this segment.
So this one is money status. So money status, status seekers tend to think that their self-worth can be correlated with their net worth. They're often associated with higher levels of anxiety and unhappiness. And those raised in a lower socioeconomic status are most likely to endorse money status beliefs.
Okay, so those raised in lower socioeconomic environments will score higher on this one.
Correct.
This is another one where I can see the pros and cons. The first one, money avoidance,
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of pros. The second one, I see it both sides. This one, I kind of see both sides. How was there a lot of variance amongst our scores?
No.
You're gonna love vigilance. The explanation of vigilance on Pete. I can tell you that you're gonna say this is the one.
Okay, so not a lot of variance here. My gut is we all scored pretty low on this, maybe high side of low. What's the name of this one again?
Status.
Ugh. I was going to say myself. It's my turn to guess first. But I did not grow up in a modest socioeconomic situation. I mean, grew up upper middle class. And so that throws me off a little bit. Dame, what do you think?
I'll go with Kristen.
Wait, you're stealing my guesses. I was going to guess her the whole time just so she'd have a
Sorry.
complex the
No,
rest of the weekend. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get the answer after the break. Oh my gosh, we did it. We just Ryan Seacrest this, Jean. Oh boy. Okay, so coming up after the break, money worship? Is that what this one is?
Money status.
Status. Who thinks money is all about status? Well, that's next. Right here on the Pete the Planner Show. Is it Dame? Is it Kristen? Is it me? Who sees money as status? You'll know right after this. Oh boy. Oh boy. You want to change your answer, Dame?
No, I'm having a mild panic attack because Google just decided right now is a fantastic time to force me to update my password, and it signed me out of the document that had the news on it. So I'm
that's
just
great.
just struggling behind the scenes.
So the thing that we don't have time to get into on the show, but is the follow-up of this, if someone's listening to this, is that, and they want to like dig into this deeper. So Dr. Klontz recognizes 8 money disorders, disordered behavior when it comes to money. And the goal is to identify which you might be at risk for based on your money script. So like that's the follow-up is, am I more susceptible to the only one that's recognized by I think it's the American Psychological Association is gambling, but he recognizes 7 others that could prohibit you from leading your most healthy financial life.
So will it tell us on each of one of those things our susceptibility on a scale? Like, because gambling for me, it's got to be like the lowest susceptibility ever. I have no desire to gamble.
It doesn't. So on your assessment, which I can forward you your assessment since you haven't seen it, it gives you prompts for how to work against maybe some of the negative tendencies of your money behavior. So for example, if you're money avoidant, one of the things that you can do is kind of force your exposure to money because we tend to be less anxious about things that we understand. And then he has a write-up on things that you can do. So it's more about your behavior and not about those, hey, you might be at risk to be a gambler. He's focusing on, changes that you can make.
This is really great. Good for this guy.
He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's really good.
So he did this, and I wore fashion camo on Veterans Day.
I mean, he didn't do this today.
No, but I'm just saying, like, that's the sort of quality of thinking. I cannot believe I've been out in public in fashion camo today.
Do you think Mrs. Planner recognized and just said, well, let's see how that works out for the guy?
I was out of the house before I think she saw anything other than the back of her eyelids. Oh man, I feel awkward. Okay.
Way to go, Dame. It was fine.
No, Dame, like, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say
thank you for your service.
Yeah. Who better to point it out than a friend in front of an entire podcast?
And then Kristen hit me with Stolen Valor, which is always the funniest
thing.
You
love that.
I love Stolen Valor. I mean, I love witnessing the accusation of Stolen Valor. And I even enjoyed it when you levied that on me. Okay, let's start the show in 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, we are exploring our money scripts. What does that mean? It means there are 4 distinct money scripts, inventories, if you, I don't know. And we're going through them. Kristen found this. It's really great. And so we're doing a guessing game of who has the highest and lowest amounts of these particular qualities. Kristen, quick recap. First, second segment, who is the highest and lowest? And then where are we now as we get into the third money script and the fourth money script?
The most avoidant was Dame. The most focused or worshipped when it comes to money, that sounds awful, was me. And then before the break, we talked about money status, and everyone guessed that it was me. And
Oh, wait. I guessed myself.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guessed
guess-
myself.
He said he was
Oh.
going to guess you, but he decided
Ah.
not to.
Yeah, I
Well-
guessed myself. He guessed you.
you should have taken that back because it was me. I
geez.
scored the highest, but we all scored very low on
Okay.
money status. The highest score was 2.1, and you would have to be a 3 to even be considered to have traits of that behavior.
So what was Dame?
Dame was 1.57,
What was I?
1.1.
So I was the lowest.
hmm
So I'm an idiot. Yeah.
Something that's also kind of interesting about the scores is that your scores overall were just kind of brought down. So I think that your responses maybe weren't as aggressive when you were answering the assessment as like mine. There were some statements that I was like, absolutely not, like strongly disagree. I think I answered that way more often than the two of you because the range in my scores is also much greater.
Dame, I have a hypothesis here. Do you
Mhm.
realize in the last 3 weeks I've said the word hypothesis like 500 times? I've got to stop. Anyway, Dame, here's the H that I have about this on for Kristen's last point.
Mhm.
With all due respect, wisdom, the wisdom of not thinking you're always right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel I have an opinion, but I don't feel strongly about much, even money. So, do you think it's possible that you and I have learned how little we know, while Kristen foolishly, like a young person, knows everything? Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible. Now, that's one of the things that I actually admire about Kristen is how emphatic she is and how strongly she believes in certain things. But I think you and I have seen enough to know enough that we try and learn as much as we can as we go.
I think just our personalities, though. I think our personalities are just different too. Forget age, right? I think Kristen knows what she knows, right? Like, and that's a positive quality about her, right?
Absolutely.
We're talking about it like she's not here.
It's okay.
Still here.
All right, last quality. What is it? Explain it, and then we're voting.
So the last one is considered to be the most positive. It's money vigilance. So those who are vigilant are alert, they're watchful, they're concerned, they prioritize saving and frugality. They're the least likely to use credit of the groups. The downside is that this can lead to excessive worry. It can lead to financial anxiety. You become at risk for underspending or financial hoarding in some more extreme cases. And statements that align with the money vigilant are money should be saved, not spent. And the second one that I picked out of the questions was it is important to save for a rainy day.
All right.
Hmm.
I like money hoarding is like, I mean, it's a thing. I shouldn't laugh about it, but it's like, oh, I saved too much money.
Well, and it leads into
Yeah.
one of the disorders is also hoarding, though, because then people have a tendency to not be able to let go of things because they have financial value. So it can spill over into like actually hoarding, not just like, hey, I saved too much. That's the danger.
All right. So I've got my guess. Who's guess? I guessed first, and Dame guessed, and I guess it's Dame's guess first.
Are we off of guessing yourself? For I
You can
mean,
guess yourself.
I know
can
you
guess
did last
yourself.
segment. Me.
Yeah, I
I'm
guess-
saying me.
I'm saying Kristen. Wait. Okay. So hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
There's low, medium, and high.
Mm-hmm.
How many people scored in
yeah,
what groups?
yeah.
2 people scored in the medium and 1 scored in the high.
Oh.
All right, Dame and I are in the medium, you're in the high. And here's why. I think Dame and I are always in these things, we are very, very similar.
What was the spread? Is the person in high way higher than the other two?
A whole point.
Oh yeah, Dame. It's Kristen. She's a dynamic individual.
I don't know.
It's you.
It's fine.
Wait, so what Dame said is this is the best quality, and by the way,
and he thinks it's him.
It's himself. Oh, okay, let's have the audience on
I
Facebook.
don't make the rules.
Let's let the
Big
Facebook
Rick.
Live guess. Big Rick Swink says Dame. Everyone weigh in on this final category. What is it again? What is the money? What?
Money vigilance.
Money vigilance. I think. Now, if Cassie, your Mrs. Planner, was taking this, she would dominate all of us in this category.
Well, I am part of a marriage, Pete. I mean, I have been influenced.
I don't know what that means. Okay, we've got people guessing. Tim says me. Jason says Dame.
No one thinks it's me.
I do. I think it's you.
The budget smoothier.
I know. That's why I'm saying, like, and I will also say I think this is stage of life as well. I am naturally vigilant, but I also I'm in my groove. I'm an old man. I'm close to death. Like Kristen is like, she's still establishing herself, right? Okay, here we go. Oh, you know what? Rick just pointed out.
Rick just called me out.
No, Rick.
Well, that doesn't mean that I didn't score the highest in this group. I still could have scored the highest, but it could have not been my highest.
Kristen, you already gave your tell away by saying, "Oh, that's true." Hey, you've already, yeah.
Oh, that means it's me or Dame. Oh no, wait. So Dave, did you remember this when you guessed?
What? The Kristen buys lattes?
No, that that she already gave her primary money script. So this is you or me, and she said not everyone scores the highest. So it's you, it's not me.
So who scored the lowest?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, yeah, let's go that way.
Okay.
Let's go the lowest.
I'm gonna go me. And I'm gonna go me because of what I just said. I feel more established at this stage of my life. So I at one point was really freaking vigilant, but I'm not as much now.
Dame scored the highest, and then me, and then Pete.
Dame, you devil, you. Look at you, how vigilant you are.
Yeah,
do you think it has a lot to do with Krav Maga?
Totally. 100%. It's one of the core tenets, actually, of Krav Maga.
Force.
Vigilant not only in self-defense, but also finances.
How? What are the points here on this one?
As you, what?
Like, what are the scores?
So Dame scored a 4.5. I scored 3.6, and Pete scored 3.5.
Ooh. All right. So basically, I have no money script, is what you're telling me.
Your highest one was a 3.5, and that is vigilance. That's your highest money script. Dame, yours is as well, and then mine is focus. But what's interesting is that I still scored higher than you on vigilance, even though it's not my top money script.
Jeez.
Wait, so are we all in the mid tier for vigilance, or did I creep into the high?
You're in the high. Okay. I think 4.5 pushes you to high. So I think that you just creeped into that.
So is there like an overall paragraph that like talks about each one of us that says like what our things are? All right. So in 40 seconds, summarize the three.
Well, the summary is that the two of you are vigilant, which is a great thing. The thing that you have to be mindful of is that you can take that too far. And then for me, I need to worship money less, I guess, is the takeaway.
Well, this was fun. Kristen, thank you for doing this. Dame, did you have anything to do with this?
I encourage her to do it. Yeah.
Well, congrats on your encouragement.
Yeah.
Coming up after the break, biggest waste of money of the week. And we'll also give you the how to get your own money scripts. We'll show you how to do that. We'll give you the website. And that's it. All that and more right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I guess now we have to give that on the radio. I was just going to give it behind the scenes, but we should. Is there an easy way to give it the address?
No, because it's on his it's like a backlink on his website.
But is it like, do they talk about it on the homepage or anything?
No, I had to Google it to find it. I couldn't find it on his website. So
All right, then we'll just tell people to Google it.
okay.
Can you Google like Brad Klontz money scripts?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's the first thing that pops up on Google.
Brad Klontz. Just
He's
rolls off
very
the tongue.
interesting.
Another bald person.
Oh man, we're good at that. Bolds. There it is.
I think most recently though, I think he's back too because I started to watch a YouTube interview with him, and in that in an interview he does have hair, so I don't know that he's currently with the Balds.
Okay. All right.
I just posted the link on Facebook and YouTube. Boy,
let us know how you score.
let us know. I was a little nervous with this thing that it was gonna be like a Rick doing some marketing. You could put a link on your website to drive some traffic to your website first. Yeah, Rick, no one listens to the show, Rick. I'm sorry to tell you, but you've made a bad choice in following us. No one cares about us. I was really glad to not be exposed as a psychopath just now.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You have proof. Scientific proof.
That's fun. Way to go, Clancy. Does anyone call him that, you think?
Doubtful.
Professor Clancy? Dr. Clancy?
Dame, do you have your news pulled back up?
Yes, I am ready to go.
Okay.
Is the obvious news going to be part of your news?
Oh, man.
I do have some. I can lead with that if we want to dig into that, or if you just want to kind of
I'd rather be quick. Okay. Yeah, just do it quick because there's no point in talking about it anymore.
I was going to say there's nothing to say. It's just the newest update.
It's all so stupid. Okay.
Tell us how you feel.
Let's have a good weekend. In 3, 2, I'm not ready. Oh boy. 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week right here on the Pete the Planner show is the Cold Stoic Water Immersion Tank. Cold water immersion therapy has a number of benefits, including boosting cardiovascular circulation, reducing inflammation, fortifying the immune system, and improving mental health. The Cold Stoic Tank from Renew Therapy allows owners to experience these benefits at home. Designed in California, the unit has clean lines with a natural wood deck and a weatherproof mechanics bay. Inside the bay are a magnetic drive water pump that circulates up to 20 gallons of water per minute, a titanium heat exchanger that maintains the water at temperatures between 39 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and an ultraviolet ozone water sanitizer and filter system that reduces maintenance and the need for chemicals. It's appropriate for indoors or outdoors and made by hand in these United States. So I have a couple comments. First off, this is great. Who cares? But there's no way this thing is Midwest weatherproof. You know what I'm saying? Like you put anything out in the Midwest, it freezes. Like it's made in California. It's weatherproof in California. But deep freezes in like Minneapolis? No way. Doesn't matter.
There's going to be a lot of expansion there. It doesn't look like there's a lot of room for insulation in those panels there.
It looks small.
It does look small. That's a one-person tank if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, there's no frolicking on like Temptation Island in this thing amongst the happy couple.
Well, I mean, the water be cold, so there's not going to be much frolicking anyway.
How dated is a Temptation Island reference? Is that like from 20 years ago? Is that still a thing?
I have no idea.
So that means it is an old reference. That's good.
Yes.
Sorry.
If Kristen doesn't know, it's an old reference. All right. First off, Dame, would you ever want to try this at least once?
Ice baths are pretty popular right now, and I remember having to put ankles in ice buckets, and I derive no joy from any of that. So putting my entire body in a tank seems like it'd be even worse. So no, I don't have a big desire to do this.
All right. What do you think, Kristen? Would you do it?
What? Oh, no, heavens no.
What's it cost, Kristen?
It costs $4,000.
Dame?
It's going to be like 12 grand.
$9,700. $9,700. Dame, what's in the news this week?
A federal judge in Texas on Thursday struck down the Biden administration's student loan student debt forgiveness program, imperiling a key administration priority that would have canceled up to $20,000 in student loans for tens of millions of borrowers. The Biden administration's plan is a, quote, unconstitutional exercise of Congress's legislative power, end quote, that also failed to go through normal regulatory processes, Judge Mark Pittman of the Northern District of Texas wrote in a 26-page opinion. The Justice Department is appealing the verdict.
I have nothing to say. I mean, just procedural. I don't know what's going to happen. This is frustrating to people who want this to happen. And Dame, here's maybe a question before we move on from this. Do you think this is not a political ruling, right? This isn't. It's just this court. People think it might think it's political, but it is a court ruling. Do you think this could gather support from one side of the political aisle, or in terms of votes, or do you feel like this will take away votes from a party if this ruling holds?
Next election is so far away, it won't be an issue. I mean, it'll be reminded, but the next election cycle. But no, I don't think it's going to be much of a factor.
Oh, so now, Kristen, this makes me think: was this ruling just come down after the election for a particular reason?
I'm pretty cynical, so yeah, yeah.
Dane, what else is in the news? Everyone knows the most basic human needs are food, water, shelter, clothing, and Netflix.
Chill.
Well, maybe that's not quite right, but it is how consumers are feeling now that inflation's squeezing their wallets. Maybe it's the latest season of Love is Blind talking, but fewer than 3 in 10 consumers say they're less likely to cut spending on subscriptions than on basics like food, according to a National Retail Group report. The research found that 44% of people in the U.S. said they've tried to cut back on groceries in the past 6 months, while 40% said the same about clothing. But over the past year, less than 1/3 have shrunk their monthly bills for subscription services that include media streaming like Netflix and Amazon Prime, and products and services like Chewy.com and DoorDash. This may be evidence of just how sticky the demand for subscriptions is, as the reluctance to unsubscribe came even as monthly prices rose across the board.
I added a subscription this week.
Oh, yes, you did.
I did. I talked about it at our meeting on Wednesday. I joined the Whoop universe. Here's why. Number one, I'm currently getting back into shape, as opposed to the shape like a pear. And the second thing is, I have major sleep issues, like major sleep issues. And so I'm hoping to get some intelligence around my sleep with said Whoop band.
That'd be good for you. That's been concerning for me for quite a while. Your sleep avoidance.
yeah. We got to make sure that we're doing these assessments where it does show me to be a psychopath. We've just chosen the wrong avenue with money.
Yeah. Are you familiar? You've heard the news about the salary transparency laws in New York?
Yeah, interesting.
Would you all like to play a little bit of a game on salary transparency for different jobs?
Yes, I love games. Yes.
So bad at these.
Wait, is this from the New York Times? Because I think I took it.
I don't think it came from the Times, but it could have been picked. Anyway, sous chef at Per Se, a 3-star Michelin restaurant.
Yeah, I've taken this. So Kristen, do you want to guess?
I have no idea. I have no realm.
No idea at all, or no idea per se? Thank you. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was like $65,000 or something like that.
$70,000.
$70,000.
That's it?
Yep.
In New York, at one of the finest
That's
restaurants
insane.
in the world, as the number 2 chef.
Yeah. General Superintendent of Train Signals at New York City Transit.
Kristen?
I hope they make more than a chef.
They make a ton. I think it's compared to a chef. I believe it was like 120, 130.
104 to 154 is the range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Exhibition coordinator at the Whitney Museum of Art.
Sorry.
Why are you laughing at that?
I'm laughing at Rick's comment.
Oh.
60.
Yes. Exactly right. $60,000. Nice job.
That's a standard guess, I think, on a lot of these, but go ahead.
Anchor at WCBS TV Channel 2.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
I bet they make less. Do they make 50?
Oh, no.
As
So
a TV anchor?
so Anchor
Well, how
TV,
big is this? How big is this network?
it's in New York.
It's a major metropolitan in New York
Oh.
City.
Oh, then I don't know. Double that.
Anchors make, or they used to at least, so much money. So the lead
didn't know that.
anchors of like back in the day of like the 5, 6 o'clock news,
Mhm.
shocking how much money they make.
Hmm.
Shocking. In this case, a Dame, if I remember correctly, it's like just under 2 or around 250.
Yeah, and we don't know the slot that this anchor's at, but it's 230 to 250 is the income there.
Holy guacamole.
I'll just say that that's low from if they were the lead anchor in Indianapolis back in the day. It was a lot higher than that.
Wow.
You could pay for a lot of good hair product.
But you have to. Finally, executive director of fixed income trading at JP Morgan Chase's Global Wealth Management Division.
Is it going to be disgusting?
It's a wide range, which
Oh, well,
Yeah, I saw that. It's not even fair. It's like,
142 to 300,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, look at that, man. It was like
You-
game show week here. Man,
Use those numbers, kids, as you're negotiating your salaries.
man, oh man. All right. Well, hey, Kristen, great job
Thank
this
you.
week on the show. Dame put a little game together. I brought Stolen Valor to the show this week. Oh boy. Thanks for all that served, all the veterans out there, Friday and the whole Veterans Day weekend, I guess we'll call it. Send you good vibes because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner. This is Pete the Planner Show. Stolen Valor.
Another Cosmo.
Good times. All right, everybody. I'm gonna go. I brought bagels in. Donut's sad cousin. I brought bagels in for everybody today.
Yeah, thanks for doing that today instead of Wednesday when I was in the office.
Big Rick Swink says, check out F3. Okay.
Is that
I don't know what
F1's?
I don't know what
Uh,
F3. It's like
lower tier?
the crappy F1 league. What's F3?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, fitness, fellowship, and faith. Oh, I know where that's at. I think.
Oh.
Let's
Well,
see
that
where
sounds
that's
fun.
at. Fitness, fellowship, and faith. Well, I'm good at one of those. Can we guess what it is? Thanks, Rick. Free men's workout group. Oh, here's the problem, Rick. I don't like being around people. that's the challenge. Boy, I have you fooled. Dame, solo workout guy for you, or do you like working on a pack?
I like like one or two other people for the accountability, but I like the whole CrossFit aspect. I don't know if I could get into.
Kristen, solo or group workouts?
Solo.
I am major solo to the point where if I'm
Major.
on the Peloton or something and Mrs. Planner comes into eyesight, like I'm just like, don't judge me right now, ma'am.
So, how do you view riding a bicycle, like out on a road ride?
Oh, that doesn't bother me. I'm just trying not to die.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Would you prefer to ride solo or in a pack?
Absolutely solo, 100% every
Interesting.
time. Yeah, and I'll work like I've been working out a lot last couple of weeks. I'll get up at like 5:30, so I'm the only person outside working out. Not because I don't want people to see me. It's just like I love feeling like I'm alone when I'm working out. I don't know. It's a dumb psychological thing for me. Like I'm grinding.
Nobody else is doing this.
No one else is putting in as much effort.
Take a picture of your watch, Jocko.
Can you can you set up your phone to like take video clips as you run by in a sweatsuit, and we can play the Rocky music underneath sometime? And,
Yes.
yeah.
No one wants to see that. All right. That's it. That's all I got. So Kristen, this is it. This is the weekend.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it. Dame, probably not for you. Everybody else, stay getting money.